Good morning. Today we will discuss geometric series. But before that, let us first state the essential question for this presentation. What is a sequence and how do I find its terms and sums? Actually, during our last video lesson, we already discussed there what geometric sequence is all about. And this time we'll be dealing deeper into geometric series. So how do I find the sum in terms of geometric sequences and series? Let us first define geometric sequence. A sequence whose consecutive terms have a common ratio. So, ibig sabihin, yung geometric sequence is a number pattern na meron siyang common ratio. Yung common ratio, yun yung number na common multiplier sa lahat. Ibig sabihin, para makuha mo yung susunod na term, you have to multiply yung sinusundan niyang term by this common ratio. So while the geometric sequence is a sequence if the ratios of consecutive terms are the same. So matatawag lang natin siya na geometric sequence kapag ang kanyang mga common ratios with the consecutive terms ay magkakamukha. Meaning, if you divide a sub 2 that is the second term. If you divide second term by the first term, you will get an R. And if you divide the third term by the second term, you will also get a value of R. And if you divide the fourth term by the third term, then you will also get the value of R. Meaning, if you divide two consecutive terms in a geometric sequence, then you will be getting the same number, which is the common ratio of the geometric sequence. Kapag hindi yun nangyari, na magkakaiba yun na kukuha ninyo na quotient upon dividing the two consecutive terms, then that number pattern is not an example of geometric sequence. Once again, the number R is the common ratio. Unlike in the arithmetic sequence, we are getting the common difference. So that's letter D. Yung common difference is a number that when you add into a certain number, you will be getting a number pattern also. So that's the difference. Kapag arithmetic sequence, kinukuha natin ang common difference. Yung common difference yun yung ina-add natin. While dito sa geometric sequence, we are looking for the common ratio which is being multiplied to get the next term. So let us have an example. Are these geometric? 2, 4, 8, 16. Okay, so geometric to ba itong number pattern na ito? Itong sequence na ito, we have 2, 4, 8, 16. Sabi natin kanina, para malaman natin kung geometric o hindi, ang isang number pattern o ang isang sequence, then we have to get the same quotient upon dividing two consecutive terms. Meaning, if we divide 4 by 2, the quotient is 2. So that's 2. Then we divide 8 by 4, the quotient is also 2. We divide 16 by 8, so the quotient is also 2. Meaning, all the quotients upon dividing two consecutive terms in the sequence is 2, then this sequence is a geometric sequence, yes. And the formula is 2 raised to n, where n is the term. So the first term is 2, so 2 raised to 1 is 2. The second term is 4, since 2 raised to 2 is equal to 4. Then 2 raised to 3 is equal to 8. Then 2 raised to 4 is equal to 16. So this is an example of geometric sequence, yes. How about this one? 12, 36, 108, 324. Let us check whether this geometric sequence, this sequence is a geometric one or not. So let us divide 36 by 12. That is equal to 3. And then 108 divided by 36, which is also equal to 3. Then 324 divided by 108. So the answer is still 3, meaning This number sequence is an example of geometric sequence, and the formula is 4 times 3 raised to n, where n again is the term. How about this one? 1, 4, 9, 16. So is this an example of geometric sequence? Let us solve. 4 divided by 1 is equal to 4. And then 9 divided by 4 is equal to 2.25. Then 16 divided by 9 is equal to 1.77 infinite. So, ibig sabihin, hindi magkakamukha yung kanyang quotient na nakuha. So, wala tayo ditong common multiplier, wala tayong common ratio. So, this is not an example of a geometric sequence. But there is a formula for here, which is n squared. Wherein, because the first term is 1, then 1 squared is 1, then the second term is 4, since 2 squared is 4, then the third term is 9, since 3 squared is 9, then 16, since 4 squared is 16. But this is not a geometric sequence because we do not have a formula here. We do not have a common ratio here, which is our r. How do we find the n term of a geometric sequence? This is the formula in finding the geometric n term of a geometric sequence. So that's a sub n is equal to a sub 1, which is the first term, a sub 1 meaning first term, times r, which is the common ratio, raised to n minus 1. N is the number of terms. And then the common ratio is, of course, being defined or can be solved by dividing the second term by the first term. Okay, write the first 5 terms of the geometric sequence whose first term is a sub 1, or which is equal to 9, and the common ratio is equal to 1/3. So we already have here the first term and the common ratio. In this case, hindi na natin kailangan gumamit ng formula dahil given na yung common ratio at saka yung first term. Ang gagawin na lang natin ay i-multiply natin yung first term doon sa common ratio para makuha yung second term. And then yung makukuha natin doon na product, i-multiply uli natin sa 1/3 para makuha natin yung third term. So our first term here is 9 already. So ang hinahanap lang naman ay yung first 5 terms. Meron na tayong first term which is 9. And then, we multiply 9 by 1/3. That is equal to 3. So, the second term is equal to 3. Yung 3, i-multiply natin sa 1/3. 3 times 1/3 is equal to 1. Then, we already have the first 3 terms. 9, 3, and 1. And then, 1 times 1/3 is equal to 1/3. Then that's the fourth term. Then 1/3 times 1/3 is equal to 1/9. So there you go, the first 5 terms of the geometric sequence na ang kanyang first term ay 9 at ang kanyang common ratio ay 1/3. There are actually problems that you don't need to use the formula. You just have to use the given values and understand what is really happening in the geometric sequence. Kapag geometric sequence ang isang sequence, ang ginagawa lang natin para makuha natin yung susunod na term ay i-multiply yung sinusundan niya sa common ratio. Kasi dito sa problem na ito, given na yung first term, heto na siya. A sub 1 is equal to 9. Given na rin yung common ratio, which is 1/3. Kaya, para makuha natin yung susunod na term, dito sa 9, i-multiply lang natin yung 9 by the common ratio, which is 1/3. Kaya nakuha natin si 3. Then, minultiply natin yung 3 by 1/3. Kaya nakuha natin si 1. Then, 1 times 1/3 is equal to 1/3. Kaya nakuha natin itong 4th term. Then, 1/3 times 1/3 is equal to 1/9. Kaya nakuha natin yung 5th term. So, problem solved. Naisulat na natin yung first 5 terms of the geometric sequence. How about this type of problem? Find the 15th term of the geometric sequence whose first term is 20 and whose common ratio is 1.05. So we are looking for the 15th term. Medyo mahaba yon kung i-multiply natin siya ng isa't isa. Hindi katulad nung sinundan na problem na 5 lang, so okay lang yon. So dito naman ang hinahanap yung pang-15 na term. Pero given na yung first term at saka yung common ratio. Pwede nyo naman gawin yon, pwede nyo nang hindi gamitin yung formula. I-multiply mo lang itong 20 by 1.05, nakuha mo na yung second term. I-multiply mo ulit yan by 1.05, so nakuha mo na yung next term. Pero, kung ayaw nyo namang mahirapan, then we use the formula a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times r raised to n minus 1. Where n is, of course, ayun siya, a sub 15 kasi ang hinahanap natin dito ay yung pang 15 term. So a sub 15 is equal to our first term, a sub 1, which is 20 times the common ratio, which is 1.05 raised to n. So our n is 15 minus 1. Then we simplify it. 15 minus 1 is 14. Kuhanin nyo muna yung 1.05 raised to 14. Using your calculator, kuhanin natin yung 1.05 raised to 14. So that is equal to 1.9799 and so on. Huwag nyo na muna siyang burahin sa inyong calculator. I-multiply nyo na agad by 20. So you will have the answer of 39.599. Okay? So ang pang 15th term dito sa geometric sequence na ito ay 39.599. Hindi na natin kailangan pang mag-multiply ng napakarami. We just use the formula in solving for the unknown term in the geometric sequence. Another example, find a formula for the nth term. So this time, ang hinahanap naman natin ay formula for the nth term with the given geometric sequence 5, 15, 45. So let us first define, once again, this is the generic formula. Ito yung pinaka-standard formula natin in solving for the geometric sequence. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 times common ratio raised to n minus 1. We already have here the first term. The first term is 5. What do we need to know here is the common ratio. And the common ratio is can be solved by dividing the second term by the first term. So you will have 15 divided by 5 equals 3. And then 45 divided by 15 is 3. So the formula is a sub n equals 5 times 3 raised to n minus 1. So this is now the formula for the nth term. Ang kailangan nyo lang ay first term here, which is 5, and the common ratio, which is 3. Question, what is the ninth term? So para makuha natin si ninth term, palitan lang natin yung n ng 9. So we will be having a sub 9 equals 5 times 3 raised to 8. Bakit 8 na lang siya? Because that's n minus 1. And n minus 1 is 9 minus 1, which is 8. Then simplifying it further, you first simplify the exponent. So that is 3 raised to 8, which is equivalent to 6,561. Then you multiply it by 5, so you will have 32,805. In this geometric sequence, the ninth term is equal to 32,805. Meaning, yung pang-siyam na term, upon solving this geometric sequence is equal to 32,805. Basta huwag niyo lang kakalimutan itong formula natin. The formula in solving for the geometric sequence is a sub n. A sub n equals the first term or a sub 1 times the common ratio raised to n minus 1. That's it. How about for the sum of finite geometric sequence? What do we mean by finite? Meaning, may katapusan. Nabibilang natin yung number in the geometric sequence. Kaya siya tinawag na finite. So, kung finite ang geometric sequence, ang geometric terms sa isang sequence, we can now solve for the sum of the geometric series. And the formula in solving for the sum of a finite geometric series is S sub n. S sub n meaning sum of the number of terms equals the first term times the quantity of 1 minus the common ratio raised to n all over 1 minus the common ratio. So this is the formula. Kung natatandaan ninyo sa pagkuha ng sum of the arithmetic sequence, we also have the formula in finding for the sum of the arithmetic sequence. Meron din tayong formula in solving for the sum of the finite geometric series. Let us have an example. Find the sum of the first 12 terms of the series 4 times 0.3 raised to n. So ito na, given na agad yung formula ng series which is 4 times 0.3 raised to n. Ang kukuhanin na lang natin yung sum of the 12 terms. Balik tayo dun sa formula. Pag inisa-isa natin yan, ito ngayon yan. 4 times 0.3 raised to 1 plus 4 times 0.3 raised to 2 hanggang sa makarating ka ng 4 times 0.3 raised to 12. So, i-add mong isa-isa, medyo mahirap yan, mahaba. And then, kung gagamitan naman natin siya ng formula, S sub n equals A sub 1 minus A sub 1 times R raised to n all over 1 minus R. So we simplify the formula. And then we substitute. Since we are looking for the sum of the first 12 terms, so S sub 12 equals 1.2 minus 1.2 times 0.3, which is the common ratio raised to 12, all over 1 minus 0.3. Then we simplify this further. You have 0.3 raised to 12 is equal to 0.00 something. Huwag nyo na munang buburahin sa calculator nyo, then you multiply it by 1.2 equals 0.000 something pa rin yun. And then 1.2 minus the answer is equal to 1.19999. And then divide nyo lang siya by 1 minus 0.3. So you will get an answer of 1.714. So that is already the sum of the first 12 terms of the series 4 times 0.3 raised to n. So nakuha na natin ngayon yung sum ng ating first 12 terms. Okay, let us have another example. Find the sum of the first 5 terms of the series. Ngayon naman, series talaga yung nakabigay, no? 5 thirds, plus 5, plus 15, plus, and so on. Pero first 5 terms lang, no? Kung titignan natin, pwede na nating makuha yung dalawang kasunod pa na terms. Kasi alam natin na ang common ratio niya ay 3. Kasi we divide 5 by 5 over 3, which is 3. Then 15 divided by 5 is also 3. So multiply mo lang yung 15 by 3, meron ka ng 45. Then multiply mo ulit yon, you will have 135. Then you get the sum. Pero gamitin natin yung formula. Sum of the first 5 terms is equal to the first term minus the product of the first term and the common ratio raised to n all over 1 minus r. Then by substitution, you will have a sub 1. First term natin ay 5 thirds minus 5 thirds times the common ratio, which is 3 raised to 5 divided by 1 minus r or 1 minus 3. Then isimplify lang natin yan muna. 3 raised to 5 3 raised to 5 is equal to 3 raised to 5 is equal to 243 times 5 thirds natin yan is equal to 405. And then 5 thirds yan, 5 thirds 5 thirds equals divided minus 405 is equal to 403 divided by 2 is equal to 201.67. So tingnan nga natin kung tama siya. 605 divided 3 is equal to 201.67. Kung sa calculator ninyo walang fraction, pwede namang decimal, no? So yung 605 over 3 is also equal to 201.67. So okay lang din na siya ay in decimal form. Because some calculators do not have a fraction, pero kung may fraction siya at gusto nyo na fraction na lang siya, okay lang naman yun. For as long as they are just the same, magkamukha lang naman. So that is how we solve for the sum of the geometric sequence, the finite geometric series. Thank you very much and God bless.